everybody. In a few minutes, we're going to start our first broadcast of Real Estate Real Talk. But every show, I am going to start with a few facts about our market conditions. Currently, the stats I have are for April. By the next show, I will have May, and then we can compare. I only picked 3 counties: Albany, Schenectady, and Saratoga. And I think you'll see the difference between the 3. If anyone wants a county added to my list, my weekly list, let me know, or I can just DM you the stats of whatever county you're interested in. I'm going to start with Albany County, and I'm going to cover, 4 things, okay? How many homes are for sale, or our monthly supply? What that means is if the housing market just stopped and no houses came on the market, this is how long the current houses that are for sale would last. So in Albany County, it would be 1 month. And these are April numbers. And every house is selling almost at list price, if not more. So sold to list price, it's an average, it's 102%. And that's Albany County. And I'll find a way to deliver this a little bit better. Maybe share a screen with a spreadsheet. What do you think? You can leave comments below. Albany County average days on market are 10. And the median house price, that means the average house price in Albany County is $360,000. Now if we go to Schenectady County, the month's supply of houses is 1 month also, and 100% for sold to list. 8 days on the market, that's the average. That's how quickly they're selling. The median home price is $290,000, okay, compared to Albany County at $360,000. And Saratoga County has 2 months supply of inventory. That means they have more homes to sell in Saratoga County right now than in Albany and Schenectady, or I should say in April that was the case. And it was the same sold to list, 104%. Days on market were 8, but here's the big change. The median home price is $447,000. That's almost $100,000 more than Albany County. And, well, do the math for Schenectady at $290,000. Saratoga also has Saratoga Springs, which the homes do go for more money there. It's nice to know that they have more homes for sale. Next week, I'll have May numbers and we can compare the difference. I think that we're going to see that days on market are similar. I think the median house price is going to go up. And I don't think the inventory is going to be any bigger. I don't think there's any more homes for sale right now on average. But let's see if I'm surprised next week. I appreciate your patience. And why don't we get started? Welcome to Real Estate Real Talk. I'm your host, Donna Kelly, and we are live talking about the real estate market with zero fluff and total transparency. Today, my topic is about the truth about housing affordability and what we can do. If you are tuning in live, drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, type #replay so I can come back and say hello to you later. Today we are tackling the absolute biggest question in my inbox right now. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to first-time home buyers, people that want to upgrade their homes, or empty nesters who are ready to downsize. Everyone is asking the exact same question. Donna, what can we actually do about housing affordability right now? It is the C question, the critical question defining our market. You hear about it everywhere. You hear it on the news, on the radio, in conversations with your friends, right? I want to buy a house, but I'm worried. Oh, my child wants to move out, but they can't afford the rent. So today we're going to break down why the numbers feel so tough right now. And most importantly, 3 real actionable ways we can make the needle move. So let's dive in. First, let's validate what everyone is feeling. If you look at the math right now, it feels heavy. We are dealing with a unique double whammy Inventory is incredibly tight, and mortgage rates are sitting much higher than the historical lows we saw a few years ago. And I know we're not going to see those lows again, but we're all hoping it'll go back to 5 or 4%. I can remember when they were 4%. That combination has stripped away a lot of our purchasing power. But here's what I want you to know. Housing affordability isn't just about the price tag of the house. It's a three-headed monster made of inventory shortages, borrowing costs, and outdated rules. To fix it, we have to look at solutions from these different angles. Before I share these three strategies, I want to hear from all of you in the comments. When you think about the housing market right now, what is the biggest hurdle for you or your friends or a family member? Is it finding a house that actually fits your needs? Is it a monthly mortgage payment? Or is it the fear of making a move in this environment? Drop your thoughts in the chat right now. I'm looking at your comments live and we're going to talk them through. I know it's a tough market and I will go forward. I just want to see if anybody actually comments. And if you're watching the replay, you can comment or DM me. A lot of people DM me questions because they don't want everybody to know what they're thinking. And I get that. And if I share any of your questions live on my shows, I will not say where they came from. Okay, I think we're good for now. I just want to share one other thing with you. The whole reason I started this show is that we all would have a place to go to educate ourselves on the real estate market, get our questions answered. If I don't know an answer, I'm going to find one. And all my topics going forward will be based on your questions. If you don't have any questions, I hope that you'll leave me some feedback. I appreciate all your time in watching, whether it's the replay or you're able to make it live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. All right, strategy number one is something we have to champion at the local, town, and county level. Updating our zoning rules to allow for what we'll be calling missing middle housing. Right now, there is a massive shortage of smaller single-level homes, townhomes, and properties with accessory dwelling units, meaning a guest cottage or a teeny home, an in-law suite. If your local towns make it easier to build right-sized, high-quality, smaller homes, it naturally brings down the entire price point, right? Weren't we talking earlier about averages? It allows younger buyers to get a foot in the door, and it gives empty nesters a beautiful, low-maintenance place to transition to without leaving their community they love. So the whole part that I'm speaking about here is we have to let our towns know that we need homes, but we don't need many mansions. We don't need the new construction at $720,000. Thank you very much. We need starter homes, homes that are $300,000 that someone could afford, maybe $250,000. 10 years ago, a high-priced house or a middle-average house that we're talking about was $250,000. That's how much things have changed over the years. And that's the things that I want to talk about today. So when you hear me say we have to get our zoning rules changed, you're like, oh yeah, well, how am I going to do that? I tell you to go to a meeting in your town board or in your city, but who has time to do that? We're taking care of our elderly parents. We're taking care of our kids. We have 2 jobs. Where do we find the time? We find the time by going on a website. I live in the town of Knox, so I would go to the town of Knox website and I'd find their planning board or their zoning board and see if there was an email address, and I'd send an email. Or maybe that same website just has a place to write comments. All our comments, if everybody in our town commented, we want more affordable housing, we want new construction that is a $300,000 home, make that happen. That's why we voted for you. Then I think things will start to change from that perspective. But we have to do it as a community. So let me go on. Strategy number 2 is for buyers out there right now. You have to stop looking at standard 30-year fixed loans as your only option, and that we have to get creative. Now, what I'm going to talk about right now, you may not be able to afford, and it's not going to work in our market as far as asking a seller to do this. But one of the strategies recommended is using a temporary or permanent rate buy down. This is where you negotiate with the seller, which we're not going to be able to do, but negotiate that rate buy down with your lender. Jason Tedford from Jason Tedford from New American Funding will be here next week, and he's going to talk about those things and about other creative ways that you can save money or afford more, get better purchasing power. I'm not an expert at this, but Jason is, so please tune in next week. His link is attached to this live, to this whole show. So you want to negotiate that. And you can save hundreds of dollars a month when you move in. There's also localized grants. They usually come out at the beginning of every year, like February. So always ask your lender about that. There's down payment assistance programs. Again, Jason will be here. Let's ask him what he thinks. But what I'm trying to say is there are creative ways for you to make your offer look better or to make it more affordable for you to own that house that you really liked, but might have been out of your price range, because it affects your cash flow. As we know, if you're paying $2,500 a month for your mortgage, and that includes insurance and it includes your taxes. Well, there may not be, sorry everyone, there may not be, any extra money to make any emergency fixes or to go on that vacation. So that's why you really have to team up with a good lender and ask questions. And we'll address that next week, but it is definitely a strategy that you can use. Then you'll have a new tool in your toolbox. Strategy number 3 is where a huge piece of this puzzle lies, the empty nester transition. So if you've been in your home for 15, 20, or 30 years, you are sitting on a massive amount of home equity. Strategically selling that larger, high-maintenance family home, you can often take the equity and buy your next right-sized property entirely in cash or with a very teeny footprint. Again, talk to your lender about what that looks like. Talk to me. I will give you a market evaluation of your home. You can call an appraiser. They're great, but they don't always understand buyer's motivation. So there's lots of multiple offers out there. So you have to understand what that might look like if you're staying in the same community but going to a smaller house. You may just be trading dollars, and like my strategy says, a very teeny footprint, but maybe you don't want that footprint. So by doing all of this, you bypass today's interest rates completely. That's true if you don't have to get another mortgage. Plus, you unlock a house that a younger generational person would desperately need. Someone who's expanding either through, how do I want to put this? Adding their family members, whether it's kids or your senior citizen parents or an aunt and uncle. Look, there's no magic wand that is going to make the housing market cheaper. There just isn't. But there's ideas, and that's what this whole show's about, is to come here, trade ideas. You ask me questions, I bring people in, and maybe we find a formula that works best for you. So whether you're buying or selling, right, you now have a plan, a workable plan, an affordable plan. Again, if we want more affordable housing, we really have to go to our towns. That's one of the biggest keys. As far as affording the mortgage, that's where we hook you up with lenders and myself, insurance people. The taxes, well, that's back to the town, isn't it? Anyhow, it takes a lot to make all of this happen. It's a mix of local policy shifts, creative financing, smart and strategic selling. But here's my real talk takeaway for you today. Don't let the national headlines freeze you into doing nothing. Every neighborhood has its own unique math, and there are always ways to make the numbers work for your specific goals. If you want to know what the numbers look like for your specific situation, whether you want a list of local grants for buyers or you want a complimentary assessment of how much equity is in your house, um, let me help you. Here's what I want you to do. Drop the word navigate in the comments right below or click the send message button on my page. I will personally reach out to you. We'll grab a cup of coffee or a quick phone call, and we will build a custom game plan that works for you. I want to thank you so much for joining my first episode of Real Estate Real Talk. Keep pushing forward, keep asking me tough questions, and I will be right here next Wednesday at 10 a.m. with Jason Tedford from New American Funding, so we can just flourish you with amazing information, educate us by asking us the tough questions. I look forward to seeing you next week. I hope you enjoyed the show. And as you know, the more shows I do, the smoother I'll get. I'll talk to you later. I really enjoyed today. Thank you.